Hello and welcome to H&D Abroad. I'm Herman.
And I'm Dee. As you can see, we have had to change locations because technology won't let us live our best life.
Uh, like at all. So we've been bouncing through a few things, but we wanted to still go live today because it's really important to connect. And we're looking for some help. We're looking for some.
Absolutely, as well as giving some suggestions. If there is an echo, we apologize. If you guys can let us know in the chat if you can hear us, or if there are any issues, we're open. We're so glad to share this time with you. So, what are we talking about today?
So we have been on this little journey now we've been on this journey with you for about 5 months, but we've been on this journey for a little over a year,
Yeah,
wholeheartedly.
deciding to uh, what is the right time for moving, and possibly where we're going to go. So thanks, Francis, for letting us know you can hear us.
Yeah, this has been a great learning experience so far, and doing this with you has really helped us learn a lot about where we need to make adjustments and what we're doing right.
And accountability.
Oh,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
we know we have to make progress because we want to be able to share with you that it's doable, but also um, that the things that we set in our checklist in that first goals video, we're moving forward on those things or how we've had to tweak them. So thanks for being our accountability partners.
All right, so history about us. So we'll start as if you don't know us. So if you're new to our channel, that's great because this is right on time.
Welcome.
You get to know who we are. We are Herman and Dee of H&D Abroad. We are running this channel as we are choosing our destination place and trying to build connections with the people we come in contact with, build a community, help Black couples in their move abroad process. We're also trying to build a little generational wealth for not just our young people, but for the young people of the African American community or Black African diaspora on a whole. So,
and as we said in that first goals video, embracing health and well-being is a huge motivator, as well for us, because as this is our 50th year, we are seeing the need to um, to dial back on some of the investments we've been making in career and just doing all the things and having what has been termed as Black excellence, having the cars, the money, the careers. Those things are important and had a place in our lives, but we are stretching beyond that to really see what could life be like for a couple that was considering prioritizing more time together, and adventures in the world. So,
in this conversation today, what we need from you is full comments.
feedback,
We need feedback. We need questions. We need, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Good job with that. We need that today because we're trying to make sure we aren't at a stalemate. We're trying to make sure that we aren't at a place of
analysis of paralysis.
Yes.
Okay, because I love to do the research and kind of get down into the details, and it can kind of disconnect you to a timeline, to a process. So we're just gonna hop right into the bucket. So we call them buckets. There are move abroad priorities. So I know one of the biggest ones that we both started with was we are 50. We are not retirement age. We do not have access to pensions or Social Security as of right now. We're still building our 401k and, loving contributing to our Roth IRAs. So the income is not there for us to completely stop work.
Correct.
So you want to report out how you are
Okay.
looking at the income?
Well, career has been a bit of a challenge area for me because my current area of expertise is in the field of culinary. I became a self-trained chef. It's been almost 10 years ago now. And culinary work, if you're not working in a restaurant, can be inconsistent. I have a background in behavioral sciences and HR. So I'm really wanting to do work that is passion-based work. I want to stay in fields that help me grow and learn in what I do, but I also want to make sure that there's income coming in my home. I've been doing some work outside my field of practice for a while, and it may be coming to some measure of, say, instability or end.
Yeah, so having this move abroad plan, I think, is helping us to lean into, look, if this is not stable, if this, what are the backups? And
Right.
really knowing that things like being able to tutor English online has been a huge leverage for us.
Correct. Correct. And that's one of the things that I'm stepping back into. I actually really enjoy teaching English online because it's an opportunity to meet people. A part of my move abroad experience is to engage people who are from different cultures and backgrounds, and this kind of opens that small world to that. You got to have a good internet connection. You got to have patience. You got to be prepared to sit in that chair for a few hours because you got to put in time to do that.
Mhm.
And the practice of doing that here will really help with if that becomes a source of income, a major source of income when we move abroad. So I've been getting back into that. But there's always a little fear about instability.
Yeah, so, I'm looking at what opportunities my current employer, who has international offices, being, kind of leaning into that uh, courage territory, being able to raise my hand and say, hey, I want to learn more about the international side, since I primarily support our domestic employees. Being able to look at what tuition and certificate information and opportunities are available so I can skill up. So if you are doing any of these things, put some suggestions in the chat, because I think where we're able to see is, maybe there are some platforms, some teaching online, English online platforms we haven't tried before. If you have done the thing about approaching your manager, that is helpful to us. But as you can hear, the move abroad process for a couple, I know that earning money is my husband's, desire as kind of leading. That's kind of a maleness, requirement. I think I also have to recognize as a married woman that, whew, you've gotta really flex yourself in a way that keeps you focused on your goal, but not as rigid. And so kind of working those things out together, and then moving into territories that you've not branched out into. So Herman's Herman's been self-employed as a caterer in the past. He's done those things. He's leaned into it, but we've not leaned into those kinds of things. So that's why we brought Rosemary and Jimmy on, because they have been business owners. What is it like to set up a business in another country?
Yeah, and those things are important. A part of this whole process, a little bit of it is risk taking. A little bit, and risk taking in the sense of stepping into areas that you haven't taken the strength or the you just haven't done before, and to say this is a new opportunity for me, and that can be a little disconcerting because you don't want to fail, you don't want to disappoint,
Yeah.
especially when you're by yourself and you say, oh, I messed up, it screwed me up. And I think that's something that I think a part of the American dream has created a bit of stifling for us as a couple is I don't want to mess up because it's going to mess up
Going to impact
it's going to impact my
family.
It doesn't just impact me, it impacts 4 other people who live in my house. And as we are downsizing, not just in what we have, but also in the number of people who live in our house.
Kids are launching.
As we downsize those things, the risk taking, we're reevaluating that a little more closely, and having real conversations about that. How will that impact you? How will that impact me? And not assuming it will impact you. There are things that I know in the past that you said, well, we could have done that. We could have done this. And in my head is as the husbandman, your mind goes, no, I don't want to do that because that could affect, that could change, that could impact, that could hurt. And you never want to bring safety concerns into the relationship. But a part of that is communication.
Absolutely.
And not just we talk, but we really communicate. We really engage in.
An area that we are growing in relationship to income is also deciding that our house is a business decision. I love that we had both Aging Grateful on that's been sharing their journey about renting their home, as well as Holly and Sean with Island Time Adventures. Talking about, hey, how to get the right mindset as a couple, and saying, look, we're going to do these things. This is how we backfill for confidence. What helps you to feel comfortable and confident, but also leans into, because there are wife concerns. There are, and so, putting 2 people together that have different areas of interest, different, what do you call that? Different path, different paths that they're pursuing in, this mid-career time, I think requires us to be intentional.
And which leads us directly into the second point is financials. Money is one of the biggest destroyers of relationships.
50% of U.S. marriages end in divorce because of money.
Yeah, when we decided to really have a conversation about this, a lot of it was what can we afford to do, and not just what can we afford to do. What can we do better so we can afford to do better. When you listen to the concept about careers, immediately your mind is like, how much do we bring in? How much are we saving? And that's a part of it. But also we have to look at how are we budgeting? How are we living day by day? What things are happening? Okay, so a bit of transparency. You heard that deep breath? A bit of transparency. We've had some really tough financial history moments. We've had times when we had less, if not little. And not necessarily always because of our choices. Sometimes it was just life happened at us from several angles fast. We're not necessarily in that place now, but we recognize that there are some things that could hold up our process, that could get in the way, that could trick us and trip us into that normal pattern of, okay, we got all this to take care of, we got all this to do, and then this process becomes a back burner thing.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of people say, you got to take a chance, you got to jump off, you got to risk. Okay, so my knee-jerk safety concerns may not be as regular and as evident as D's, but I I'm not a fan of poverty. I'm not a fan of debt. I'm not a fan of struggle. I'm not a fan of we have to be bare bones because if we don't, everything's going to go to pot. So there's a planning process that we have in this financial, and a part of it is really being mindful of where we are financially. It doesn't mean that there aren't hard times,
Correct.
but it goes back to that last statement in the last bucket list, and that's communication. What do we have? What are we doing? How do we correct it?
Yeah.
How do we impact it? How do we keep it from impacting us? Did I?
Yeah, I think things that we are doubling down on. We've been a little off of a written budget, and I'm saying a little off, it's been like way off.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we did a few things. So um, we've shared before that we didn't take an oath. We took time off, but we didn't do a honeymoon. So we did one. We're 24 years married. We finally went on a beautiful vacation to beautiful places. And that was an investment, which took down or a lot of the savings that are, that were a part of what could have been going toward,
Mhm.
the pot of money that we wanted to begin to set aside outside of our regular deposits to 401ks and other investment accounts. That was needed. I
Mhm.
think we know that we're going to have to lean in, and so we're buckling down
Correct.
on those things,
Correct.
saying what is necessary, what is needed. Every dollar has a name before it comes in. So if you would like for us to talk through budgeting, we would love to like literally be lots more transparent about things that our audience feels like could be helpful, so that you're also able to kind of frame, what are the things that I should plan for? What are some of the things for backup? But we're also still building in things like scouting trips.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
in October, we're planning to renew our visa. So we've got to continue to set aside funds and income is going to allow us to either
Right.
stretch or identify that there's a gap. And
Right.
that's what we're continuing to do now.
The conversation about finances requires one thing, and that's honesty. And that means that some of the conversations are really uncomfortable because I have to say, and I'm speaking personally, I have to be able to say, I need this. I'm going to need to spend this money, or I spent this money, or I need to do this, but I'm not going to do that because I needed to take care of those things over there. And
A new relationship to money.
yeah,
Our relationship with money is evolving.
right. I'm not hiding money issues. Again, I'm only speaking for me. I can't speak for D. And I don't feel that she is. I can't hide. I can't afford to hide money issues. It isn't. It has always been intentional by me that all of my finances go through a direct account that she has access to. That is a joint account. Anything I spend, she can say, "What's this $20 at such and such grocery store?"
And I asked.
And I not feel like I have to. Well, it was. I'm okay saying I bought a sandwich today because I forgot to pack my lunch, but I need to tell you that I will not be buying out anymore this week. Because I spent that money because I didn't prepare, or I spent $20. I'm making dinner tonight. and I needed these extra things, and this meal will be for our planning. And that it helps me feel that I'm staying honest about where I'm putting our finances. That does not take the place of the intentional budgeting. That does not take the place of the intentional budgeting. That just means that if anything is outside budget, she can remind me, oh, you didn't report that. You need to put that on the reporting scheme and not.
If you are using a budget tracking app, please put it in the chat. We are using Every Dollar. So it is a free app that what we agree to is you set the budget for the month. And that gave us the first indication of we need more income because more is required to go out.
Right.
But it also helps us to see how much we've spent, where we've spent it, and how much is left within that dollarized amount. So we just took how much money we get for the month. And then especially between a set income and a flexible income, when you're self-employed, that you could have, lean times and what do you call that? Lean times and robust, times where you make more money. So we have a set way that we are being accountable to each other. If you're using something else, please put it in the chat and tell us why it works for you. But I think as a couple, we need to have that level of transparency and accountability and tracking that's not my responsibility alone or my husband's responsibility alone. So that is how we have agreed to be accountable. So June 1, we are intentional about putting everything back into the app. We've
Correct.
gotten so many things were coming at us, but look, the last half of the year, we want to be able to report that we were intentional about our budgeting in a way that helps us meet our goals. If you have been listening to any kind of financial indicators, people are living off of their credit cards. People are depleting their savings accounts in a world where inflation is increasing, even in the places we're considering moving. So the budgeting is going to help us to move abroad. But hearing Rosemarie say, we live on a budget. We have funds, but we're living on a budget. Helps me to know that that's a habit that we're building for when we move, that having an emergency fund, it literally becomes is vital for us now to help us stay on track, but also to help us, because having an emergency and you're out of the country, you've got like so much more to plan for. So I know I am committing to buckling down about that. Probably another area that we talked about on the goals was our children and parents. So
Correct.
Did you want to give an update?
In April, my mother passed. She had Alzheimer's. And even when you know it's going to come, you don't really ever want it to come or expect it to come. Some things that take our loved ones away from us. When someone is lost tragically, it kind of unexpected. You don't see it coming. when your parent is taken away from you slowly, um, that is a bit wrenching. So my father is on his own. Um, your mother is on her own. And we are evaluating what our place is in their lives as older adults. Now,
Mhm.
my father is a jet setter. So I know any day now he's gonna be on the road. At 76, he's gonna be. And here's what I need you to understand. My parents were aged. My parents aren't old.
Mhm.
And a part of the pain is Alzheimer's took my mother's youth away. It took her personality away. And so that loss is palpable. Um, but it also plays a part into then what are my responsibilities towards our remaining parents?
Parents, yeah.
Because they're still viable, active adults.
Yes.
Okay, we're not talking about people who need my care, but they're not young, and it doesn't necessarily require um, an incident or an illness for them to be gone. And as
Or
much
to be reduced in their ability to live independent.
right. So we've talked to people, we've talked to them. Okay, let's start there. We've had conversations with our parents about what their wishes and desires are for sickness and death, whatever. And so we have a rough idea.
Yeah,
we,
yeah, because I've had to set some new priorities on my side. Um, when I first approached my mom about, hey, I'm moving abroad, she had traveled, but had decided to not. She had decided to do no more international travel, and the way that she shared that information, I wasn't sure if I was going to come back around to, and where does that leave me other than returning to the US? So, as I reset my goal around our parents specifically, it's to make sure my mom has an updated passport.
Mhm.
So, I know in June we're going to be talking about passports, but I need to make sure my mom has access to an unexpired passport with enough pages that if we need to have her come to us so that we can support her care and give her, that undivided, well supported attention, that we can do that.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, this is literally the nuts and bolts of family. Um, one champion, one celebration. You want to share the you want to share the celebration, or you want me to?
Oh, please do.
Oh my gosh! All three of our kids have passports. Hallelujah!
And understand that wasn't an easy process. We have I'm using this phrase. We have versions of our children who say, "Oh yeah, give me a passport. Let's go. Let's do." And then there is those young people who say, "I don't understand the point. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not in a hurry. I don't plan to leave the country. What's that for?" And like every other aspect of a parent involved in a child's life, you see the benefits down the road, but you don't necessarily know how to explain that to them. Um, and not just children, parents as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't. My grandmother is 94, and she is a mover and a shaker. She was a get in the car and travel around the country and see her family, and she is expressing extreme concern about us moving abroad. I mean, in ways that I haven't heard her worry in a
Mm-hmm.
long time. I was actually caught off guard because she is a go, do, learn kind of person. and she has expressed some serious concerns that I'm
At
taking.
90, at 93, I think,
94, just turned
94, she
94.
just turned 94. What I think it's shown us is that we need to get in the car, get on a plane, and have face to face. Because I don't, like Francis is saying in the chat, it's a difficult decision. It's a difficult conversation. It's one that has to be had. How does it impact your timeline? How does it impact even your decision to move? Y'all, people are making some really life altering choices that people may or may not agree with or support.
And Francis, sorry for your loss.
Absolutely.
And to both you and Greta, thank you. What we are learning, and as hard as it is that we still have to move forward with our lives. And there are those family members who will support that. My dad says, go, keep going, keep doing, keep moving. His mother, my grandmother, is like, if you have to, I guess it's okay. And and learn to respect both of their feelings and still make the decisions you have to make that are important and best for your individual lives and lives as a couple. Because we live in this house. When our children, how they feel, my baby girl, I love her to death. She traveling is not on her plan anytime soon. I have to respect that. I don't have to like it. I don't have to understand it, but I'm doing my best to respect it because I feel if I do that, I want to leave space open for her to come and say, I've made some changes, I've made some thoughts, I have some feelings, and she feels she has a space to express those things, even if I have difference of opinion, and her space and decisions are respected. I'm still going to encourage her. Hey, get on this plane, come see us. I'm still going to encourage her. Come take this ride with me and then drive 12 hours and she'll be okay. but understanding where she is at this phase of her life. Having said celebrations, we're two. We're two moved out.
Yeah. Okay. So Agent Grateful, y'all gave us that wind. You all were the wind beneath our wings.
And we did not throw them out.
No, but they paced forward.
Yeah.
And so, this is new territory for us.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm still Mama Bear.
Because the fact of the matter is, the truth of the matter is, not really excited about the fact that they're out of the house, and really excited about the fact that they're out of the house, because the world at early 20s today is not the world it was at early 20s for me nearly 30 years ago. We found in a box. We're doing some decluttering, and they're going to have that video too, but we were doing some decluttering, and I found the
apartment, the lease contract
for my very first apartment that I got at 23. What's up, Rick? Our Black Utopia is here. Good to see you, fam. I got my very first apartment at 23 in 1997.
One bedroom,
fully furnished, nice little place upstairs, and my total rent with cable included, all cable included, was $265. $265, 1997. I was like, that'll never come again. But I remember distinctly the nervousness of taking on that venture. Could I be successful? Was I responsible enough? Because I realized in a lot of ways I wasn't responsible enough. But I was a college graduate. I had a full-time job. I had been living and paying some level of rent. I'd been paying a family member rent for almost a year at that point. So I struck out. So I really want our kids to feel safe and secure about this move, and that's a big deal.
But housing, as many of us know, if you are currently in the States, if you have been watching any news, the housing prices are going up, the apartment prices are going up, and it's just a different world. The impact, salaries are not keeping pace with how much it costs to live in a place. And that was one of our worries is, hey, you can stay here in the house and save your money. And they did that to a point. But then what we needed and what we needed for them and with them was to be able to help them to access that courage, that confidence while we were still here. And so we have a network of friends and families. I put this in the Exodus Summit group to another mother who was saying, I'm going to wait another 5 years. She said she was going to wait 5 years for her daughter to feel confident in her young adult years before she left. So that kind of was where we were last fall.
You really have to, I'm very cautious about saying that at this point in their lives, at this age in their lives, as educators, we recognize, and as behavioral scientists, we recognize that each person, each individual, you cannot raise your children the same. You cannot expose them to the world the same. You cannot extend them out into the world the same. And, I know young men like me, ran as soon as I could go, I'm gone. Baby girl was at home.
Look, I'm a daddy's girl.
That's okay.
I'm a daddy's girl.
And I know situations that are completely the opposite. I know sons that they can't buy him out of the house. And daughters who've been gone since they were 17. It's a matter of each individual person and what that child needs in interaction. And sometimes, as much as it hurts, you have to move some of these young people into a space where they have to struggle. They have to bow into the wind a little bit. And what we wanted our young people to know, what we wanted our children to know is we are not abandoning you. We are not tossing you out to the wind. We're not getting rid of you. I mean, we're not telling them, but if it all goes to hell, they can come home. I mean, but I'm not
go back to the house we have in the States. And they're welcome to come to where we are, and we can help them, establish themselves abroad. But making those initial first steps are important to us and gives me as a mom peace. So Greta is asking the question that I figure most people,
and it leads us to our next thing. So
choosing a destination.
So the question is, Greta, have you moved to Mexico yet? No. All right. So
tell them about Mexico.
Okay, so let's for those people who don't know us, let's clear some things up. Unlike a lot of people who have channels, we aren't gone, and technically aren't gone for a little while.
Right. So we've set 2024 as our exit year.
Right.
And so, but we're doing the things that are lining us up to make a move, and because our approach is also residency stacking, we have started with Mexico.
We were on our regular evening walk last night, and a part of the conversation that we continue to have and have had the pleasure of having because of our interactions with you is, what are we looking for? When we started this journey, it was, we just want to go. What's easy? Where can we go?
What's affordable?
What's affordable? Let's go. The conversation now is more about, when we go, why are we going to these places? What are we looking for in a place? And then in this conversation, recognizing the similarities and the differences. As we've shared before, we've not had the opportunity to travel as much as we would have liked in these last 24 years. We've done some stuff around the country, and our initial conversations were actually in states related, in country related moves.
Right.
It really sparked the conversation about moving. And then we began to say, okay, there are opportunities outside the country that may actually be more advantageous to us.
And they met a lot of the things that would help us to accomplish the goals. So we
Right.
still have, I mean, literally, this job that I'm on was the first job, because I worked nonprofit outside of this to be able to have the financial, structure of, 401k match and a lot of the things that we learned in Beyond the Bling, with our Black Utopia, to maximize that. So if we could do better outside the country than inside, that was, I mean, you have a set of goals, you know what your values are. Where can we find the match for that?
And Mexico made it easy, quote unquote, made it easy, provided the opportunity for us to say, let's start our venture. Let's start the process of this with something that was close enough for us to get to, was within the financial and requirement structures that we met, that we can go and do, and we were able to take our youngest son. In these bucket list conversations today, we're trying to figure out if these areas, if we are creating barriers and obstacles to us just going. Now, there are some things that are challenges. Currently, Dee has a full working job. Her full working job does not allow her to, at random, leave the country.
Yeah,
So
I'm not one of those people.
Right. So her
that just takes my laptop.
Yeah.
No.
Her job does not allow her to leave without permission.
Correct.
If at all.
If at all.
And it is a important part of our financial growth process. So do we take this job and chuck it and hope for some other financial opportunities and go and, free to the wind and hope see how it goes? Or do we utilize this process and build on it so that we can make sure when we're gone that in 6 months we're not back here saying, okay, we're broken, we got to come back? We really would like to no, that's not the word, to exit with a constancy at the end and not a maybe at the end.
Yeah, sustainability
in moving.
So you all know, we talked last week about, how was Spain? Could Spain do it? A lot of what we are comparing is we're comparing the countries to each other. And actually what I am discovering is, yes, internet, transportation, community and social networks, all of those things are important, but they're also, just like we've got hard skills, there's some soft skills, some soft landing things that I am looking for, that I'm finding will make the experience of moving abroad allows us to embrace it, and be embraced. That was the thing that we were talking about last night. So so being in the Facebook groups, being in the communities, meeting people on the ground, those are things that are making a difference and differentiators. So Greta, we're more than likely we're going to be in Mexico at some point, but we're looking at other places. We were watching Nomad Capitalists this morning, and they just put out a video about finding some other visas with low tax implications. And that's really what we've been researching. Or are there some other places that we can be with a reasonable in-country residency time frame, but don't have a huge tax impact on us? And there are places. So I'm super excited. We're watching our Black Utopia's journey in there. We're watching Everything is Bofo in Spain. We're watching, and then we're in communities where people are saying, I'm there or I haven't. And then what does that look like? Europe, Southeast Asia are still on the top of my list as well. So will we be able to travel? And that is the downside, is some of those farther places, we don't want to go for a week or 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks is probably the max that I could put together with paid time off and other things. Is that enough time to be able to fly to several places and really investigate them or do a scouting trip? Will we have to do some of those things if we find a landing place, and then once I get that fully remote kind of job, Herman gets the fully remote kind of job, then we can take time, like from Lack to Legacy that we had on just this Thursday. She's spending 6 months in Bali. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of flexibility I need to find, I feel like, to find our destination.
And I want to ask this question. I want to ask this question because I want to name some of the things that are important to us, and I want to know if we're being naive, or if we're being overly optimistic, or if we're being narrow-minded. Okay, so weather is a thing. Weather is a thing. I don't want to freeze, and I don't want to burn up. Now, I know the Garden of Eden isn't sitting around the corner waiting for me to stop in and have an apple. I recognize that. I get it. But I don't mind heat. And for the most part, I don't mind a little cold. I just don't want it to be. England sounds gray to me. It does not sound appealing to me. It does not sound like a place where I want to spend my days because I'm having to beg for the sun to come out.
Oh my goodness. Seeing Rick and Halisi in their coats when they went, I was like, no.
And so that's a thing for me. Does it necessarily need to be tropical? Okay, just because I'm from Florida doesn't mean it needs to be tropical, but I want it to be engaging. Weather is important. Another important factor is internet stability. Okay, are we in an infrastructure place where we can have good internet, so we can do the things we need to do, where there are resources available? You know, I don't want to be in rolling water use and electricity
or blackouts.
You know, and I know I'm being a little sedity right now because I don't really mind being a little rural, but
at what cost?
At what cost?
Yeah. And we don't want to buy a car.
Yeah.
So transportation is the transportation infrastructure is really important to us as well. So
brain just went right to sleep. Community. Yes. And when I say community, not just the ability to meet people but to feel like I'm in a space that's warm. One of the reasons I really like Mexico is because I felt the people in Mexico were, without cause, engaging and warm, whether it was on the street or it was customer service. There was a level of openness to my foreigner self that didn't have to be there. When we were in Africa and Spain, I thought the people were respectful. That's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's two different things. And I can get respectful anywhere.
Possibly, yeah.
You know, I don't want to feel like I'm tolerated or, I'm just a part of I really want to be a part of whatever environment I'm a part of. That's a thing for me because I'm a social animal. I'm not necessarily, was classified as an extrovert.
Mm-hmm.
The behavioral scientist, the psychologist, I can't even say the word, the extrovert, but I want to be able to engage and learn from people to build a community. Yes, I'd like to be around people of color, but I'm okay with not being around all people of color if it's an engaging environment.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure some of the places we visited made me feel at home, made
Yeah.
me feel integrated into the process.
And we're looking at how we can compare apples to apples. We're listening to other stories. If you all have channels that you are watching where people are successful in their transition, and they're talking about what has made a difference to them feeling that this was their place, please put those in the chat as well, because maybe there are some other things that we haven't. So we're trying to make sure when we get on the ground in places that we're going when they're having their regular expat meetups, that we're finding married couples, couples that are still working, couples, or people that have a richness that they're willing to give and share. And so I think that would help us to be able to compare more countries, apple to apples, outside of, looking at what the Department of State might be saying about them, or even, like I have said before, but I want to say in this video, I know that US media has impacted how I see certain countries. Safety wise, the political stability, and is that a place that I really want not only to visit as a tourist, but to live? It's the real stories. The Yarbroughs are in Salvador. Like those kind of experiences where they're living, that like they're walking around, they're talking to people there. Those are the experiences that we're looking for. So please, if there are YouTubers that that we should be paying attention to, please feel free to share them in the chat today. If you are joining us from the future, welcome. Please put hashtag replay, but feel free to also share in this discussion.
And tell us why you've chosen the places you've chosen.
Yes.
Because really there may be things we're not considering. I'm using an analogy. This is my thing. So young people say, oh, I found this new person and I really like them. And I say, and they're like, I think they're the one. And I say, well, why are they the one? And don't tell me that they're nice. Don't tell me that they're funny. Don't tell me that they were good to you. Don't give me any of the common things. So now why do you like them? And then people just go. And if you like a place for the same reason you like the place you were living before, I'm not sure why that would be attractive to me. If it's because I'm looking for more than just the rhetoric of our country is, if you don't like where you are, just move next door, just move across the city, just move to a new state. And that's okay, but it does not take care of the bigger undercurrent of the problems that we have. And yes, I have a rant coming. That's on another video. Because I'm learning some things in these little trips too. So if you have reasons that you've moved somewhere or are considering somewhere, please let us know, because we'd like to be able to consider all the options of what makes a place or what makes a search a good search, even if it's not a place.
Absolutely. So
last one that I have, and this is the part of the makeup of the dynamic of our channel, and it's what is important about having all of you in the chat today is
thank you.
We've been wanting to build community. That was a big bucket list. In the 4 or 5 months, almost 6 months since we started this channel, we have had the opportunity of interviewing a large range of peoples and
in lots of different places.
And it has changed our lives. We have gotten to know people like Greta. We've spent wonderful time with Rick and Halisi,
Our
with our
Exodus
Black Utopia,
lives.
our Exodus Life. We've interviewed more people than I think we ever expected to, because what it's done is it's helped us to build a community of people, like-minded people. But we've also had the chance of meeting Black couples within our age range,
Hmm.
and that's a wide range, within our age range, who see the world with some parallel to how we see the world, who have some
Hmm.
of the same motivations and goals and desires that we do. And we have really grown individually, as a couple and as a channel, because of that interaction with each of you.
Thank you.
I'm you all are meeting my I need friends quota way higher than I expected. I mean, just the chance to meet a variety of people. We have talked to people in Mexico, we have talked to people in Portugal, in Spain, in Africa, in South
Jamaica,
America, in the
Grenada,
islands, in Canada.
Ecuador.
And
Yeah.
and we're talking about a learning experience, not just, hey, we're trying to grow a channel. This whole purpose of our channel has been, how do we journey, how do we share that with you, how do we learn? And that has been exactly the experience that you have provided for us. And I am so excited to have gotten to meet each and every one of you. And I need to meet more of you. We
Yes.
want to meet more of you. We know there are people out there we have not gotten in touch with. We are looking for um, we are looking for people that you've met, or people that you've watched that you think we need to reach out to and meet. Please. Not everybody we've invited hasn't come, hasn't joined, hasn't been available. That's okay too, because some of them we're in contact with just
For
online,
future.
just in
Yeah.
conversations. Um, and some of them are in future endeavors. We just want to build this community with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What I um what I have found is we don't need to build the wheel. Somebody else has resources that we can learn from, that we can expand upon, um, and that's what we want. What I also know is that you all are giving us courage to explore. You all are helping us to sharpen the vision that we
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm-hmm.
for moving abroad, and that this is a risk, but it is not risky.
Right.
And
Right.
when you know that there is a community that is surrounding you, cheering you on, that you are cheering on as well. Because look, I get in those comments. And if you are in the replay and you say something, I'm going to respond right back to you that, hey, you've made the decision, or you've quit your job, or you have found a 100% work from anywhere employer. We are applauding you. And so this is really a transparent relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I did a session on vulnerability this week, and the way that we have been received proves that when you share, when you are not putting yourself out there as the expert,
Mm-hmm.
but that you're sharing your learning journey, there is a value in that, and we appreciate it. So that's what we have for you today. This is exciting and unnerving, and we are pushing forward. Goals are just that. Um, my background and our background in research is process, impact, and outcome evaluation. We are learning as we learn, we're tweaking as we go, we're clarifying, we're confirming, we're identifying where, hey, if we've already accomplished that, what is the next thing to make sure that we're bringing our process together? I'm just going to put it into the universe while we're together that if we can find these last few important pieces for us, it may be before 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie Perry's whole session today was quit your job in 2023. And I was like, huh. maybe I've put stuff to 2024 when I really could be lining things up. So our Exodus Life has posted about decluttering. What do you call that? Aging Grateful cleaned their house out to rent it.
Watching
Like
Lamar and Angela
so,
tear the house
tear
down.
the house down. I'm telling you. So we are, I have realigned the next 3 months of this summer to say, what if we had the opportunity to leave earlier?
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to have in place? And our house does need, the garage is where you all may find us on one of these episodes.
I started yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my. And it's not bad, but you recognize it's not the big things, it's the little things that you have to figure out.
Yeah, like me, I have quite a few of my dad's things.
Mm-hmm.
And so processing, things I kept from our children growing up that can be scanned and saved and handed off to them. Photos can be cataloged, scanned and cataloged so we can have access to them online. But my dad's things are a real, so there's an emotional as well as a physical process. What do I do with the things that I have from him? Whether it's the vehicle that I have from him, what are we going to do with that? Or the physical things that I have of his and my grandparents, his parents that are no longer here. Do we take those things with us? What do we do so that it is honoring and that I can process that? So those are some of the moving it forward. I want to see us make real movements on our careers.
Yes.
Yes.
And before the summer ends.
Absolutely.
And so we need your encouragement. We need your suggestions. We need your advice. I have no problem reevaluating anything and asking for help. You will never find me lost on the road because I'm not.
Y'all, we do not have that fight in the car.
Because I don't like traveling further than I needed to travel because I didn't ask a question. So please be the
community you all have always been to us. And we are so thankful. Thank you all so much for joining. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Oh, and we are so close to 500 subscribers. Y'all, come on. We are sharing. We are giving good content. Hopefully we're making you laugh and making you think.
Tell somebody we're not too bad to look at.
Absolutely.
Tell them to come see the pretty girl in that dude. Just tell them to stop by.
So hopefully we'll have that celebration coming forward as well. So thank you all. Please have a great rest of the day. It is Memorial Weekend. Mm-hmm. And for those who I know that are on our channel that have served our country, we are so honored to honor you and remember you in this space. My husband's grandfather and my grandfather both served in the Army, and we are proud of that legacy. And because I work where I work, I am also supporting not only the warfighter, but also those family members who sacrifice as well. So if you're a part of that group, if you've got family members, thank someone for their service today or this weekend. Remember, freedom is not free, and that the privileges that we have here in the U.S., a lot of it is based in our ability to serve and protect. And we're thankful for our friends, our online friends and family who serve as well. So, all right, that's
Chase the world. Chase your hearts. We hope to see you soon. Thanks for coming by. Love you all.
Absolutely. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.